Developer Scott Cawthon has amassed a reputation for delivering numerous games quickly and consistently, often undercutting his own deadlines to deliver games early. Despite the games he releases being mostly consistent in quality between each other, his practice of releasing multiple games within a relatively short time span has met heavy criticism, often accused of milking and rushing his games, in particular his core Five Nights series. So let me preface this by saying, yes, I'm one of those people who did enjoy their time with the franchise, for the most part. I had major grievances with the third game, but I won't agree that there wasn't time and effort put into even that one. These games are presented as short, inexpensive packages released at almost bi-yearly intervals, and I honestly can't see what the issue is with that. I think the problem at heart lies in the naming convention. Why is it that games like Life is Strange, Walking Dead, or any other Telltale product or similar is taken at face value and is, for the most part, allowed to release multiple paid installments within a series without it causing uproars or accusation?
Unless it's the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but don't let that undermine my point, that's a subjective thing.
When people see a big 2 slapped on the end of a product, they expect a huge expansion over the original title, leaping to new bounds or at least providing a much heftier sum of content. With the Five Nights franchise, however, the games are pretty consistent in scale, length, depth, and overall presentation quality. Had Scott merely titled these sequels as episodes, it probably would have been given the same leeway that we see given to games like those mentioned before. Unlike most series games, however, Scott never had the benefit of foresight in that his product would land securely. When pretty much all episodic games are unveiled towards the public, there's a guarantee in place that more content in the same grade of package is coming in future episodes, in a slow drip feed of what builds into a final wrapped up product. Whenever a Five Nights game is teased, it is done so with no prior confirmation to its existence, as is usually the case with the traditional sequel. This is because, as with most indie developers, Scott has no publisher-provided budget to cover an entire season's worth of releases, so he has to account for the fact that any game in the series could be the last due to any number of reasons. Maybe the game stops selling, or, touch wood, something happens to Cawthon to disallow his creation of future games. Add that on top of the fact that he had no idea that the first game was even going to be a success, and the rest came as a result of it being a success. To call the games episodic, whilst it would allow those going into newer FNAF games to not skyrocket their expectations into full-blown sequel territory, would be too risky to be worth following through on and providing the expectation or guarantee of later games and a finished season. I don't think Scott is milking his franchise, I just think he's eager to work, he wants to keep giving people what they want, and honestly, he's kind of backed himself into a corner by calling them a sequel to begin with, so, I think he's doing okay, and I don't think there's a problem with what he's doing, as long as he keeps delivering stuff at the same grade and scale, and I think he's doing okay for the price point he's asking. If anybody accuses me of milking, because this is the second Dickbytes that happens to mention a certain brown bear, may I just remind you that probably one of the biggest, hugest gaming phenomenon in recent years, maybe might still be worth talking about? I don't know, that's up to you to decide. I'm just the messenger. This is just an episode. There we go, I linked it back in.
You're doing this for the planet, same as us.
Not interested.